In today's video, we're going to be doing some load development in 30-06 Springfield. We've been excited to do some testing with these 150 grain Speer gold dots, as well as Hodgkin's H4350. Welcome to Bolt Action Reloading. Stick around. Welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be doing some testing again in 30-06 Springfield, which means we are bringing back out our Tikka M695. This Tikka M695 has a 22.5-inch barrel, and it's pretty much bone stock from the factory. We have replaced the scope for today's testing and replaced it with our Vortex 4.5 to 27. This is an absolute ridiculous scope for this test platform. However, we wanted to make sure our scope wasn't affecting our groups in any way, shape, or form today, and I certainly think it was an improvement. The components for today's testing are starting with the Speer gold dot, part number 308150 GDB. These are a newer projectile from Speer in .308 caliber. From results we've seen online, they look like they might be a pretty good hunting projectile here in 30-06. That's why we're using them. The 150 grain gold dots are fairly light for caliber, so certainly no twist rate concerns with our barrel today with the 150 grains, especially in 30-06. Moving on down our list, Hodgkin's H4350 is going to be our powder today. It's Extreme Series powder. With its increased temperature stability, we should have easier time getting lower standard deviations. At least that's what we're going to be hoping for. Our primer we're going to be igniting it with is the CCI-BR2. We did an initial load workup with two different primers for this combination earlier. I can put those on your screen now, and you can see we had two separate charts, one with the 215M primer. I've had pretty good luck with Magnum primers with Hodgkin's H4350, and the other was the BR2. Looking at both charts and the expected pressure where I really wanted to be, we're going to get into the pressure chart here in just a second, but somewhere around 2950 was where we were kind of hoping to be. We intended to be somewhere around our max pressure with that today. Looking at our curves, it really looks like somewhere around 61.4 grains was going to be where we were going to find the best results. There's a bit of an added component to some of today's testing we're going to get to in a minute. First, let's look at our quick load velocity chart here. We can see starting off at 59.6 grains, quick load was estimating 2854 feet per second. Our actual achieved velocity we got when we did our initial workup was 2863 feet per second, so pretty close. Quick load was estimating our max velocity at 62.3 grains to be 2985. We actually only achieved 2964 there, but our max velocity was achieved back at 61.4 grains at 2973 feet per second. So as you can kind of see on that chart, right up at 61.4 and 61.7 grains, pretty similar velocities. Kind of odd that it's decreasing right there, but we're going to test basically the entire length of that chart. We did this in conjunction with another Satterley test, which is what this is, and what I was really hoping, honestly, was to get a good response on either side of it, but test our in-between areas there just to see if we were missing something. I kind of covered that in another video already, and I'll link that at the end if you guys are interested in seeing that. I think that we're going to still be able to come out with a reasonable load today. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Let's get right into our exact test load data for today. We're starting off at 60.6 grains of H4350. Our nozzler brass, this is its second firing. The cartridge overall length we're going to be testing is 3.300 inches. This is about exactly 20 thousandths off the lands. The CBTO is 2.718 inches. Our primer is the CCI-BR2. And if that wasn't enough detail for you, for as far as our brass prep was concerned, we actually had to lose a piece of brass for the initial load test at the lowest charge to find our anneal code. We did want to get our exact anneal code from our annealer, and so we're only going to be testing 24 total rounds today. Our first charge is what drew the short straw, and only is going to have 4 loads to test today. Of a little bit of quick note, it was about 20 degrees warmer when we ran today's testing than when we ran the initial velocity curve. And so we're going to see slightly higher velocities today. That shouldn't really be a surprise to anyone, but I don't think our changes are going to be too drastic. So let's get right into our load data. Starting off at our 60.6 grain charge, our 4 shots averaged 2943 feet per second. Standard deviation was 6.5 with an extreme spread of 15, and started right off with a .943 MOA group. At 60.8 grains, our average velocity increased slightly to 2948 feet per second. Our standard deviation did as well to 11.3 extreme spread of 25 and a 1.285 MOA group. At 61 grains, our average velocity was 2967 feet per second, standard deviation of 15.8, extreme spread of 39, and a 0.906 MOA group. At 61.2 grains, 2963 feet per second was our average velocity. Standard deviation came back down to 11 with an extreme spread of 23, but our group size is 1.158 MOA. Creeping up to 61.4 grains, our average velocity increased to 2994 feet per second. Standard deviation was 4.9 with an extreme spread of 13, and our best group size of the day at 0.745 MOA. So guys, as an overall small group shooter, this rifle probably isn't going to be the best rifle you've ever seen. However, this is a factory M695 that with other factory ammo, we were getting well over 3 MOA groups with it. And so I certainly think today's testing is a win. Being as we're kind of just on the very side of that velocity node, I think we would need to confirm our load at 61.4 grains with some more testing just to kind of cover that area a little bit better and make sure we're not missing a even more stable load just a little bit higher than that value. But overall, 61.4 grains looks pretty good. I certainly can't complain with an extreme spread of 13. I'd love to see that group be a little smaller, but like I said, a 3/4 MOA group for this rifle, certainly nothing to complain about, at least in my book. So if pressure would let us go a little higher, let's take a quick look at the brass and we'll walk through the lowest charge to the highest, and you can kind of see there is just a little bit of flattening with the primers on these, just getting pretty hard to see the B in the primer. I don't think that we need to go up a whole lot with the charge. However, there's no ejector marks on the cases or anything like that. I don't think we're at a completely unreasonable velocity. Though, according to Quick Load, we are certainly getting on the top side of the allowable velocity for this cartridge. Anyway, this is our 30-06 testing today. I'm really happy to file this in our log for our 30-06 testing. If you're interested in more 30-06 testing here on the channel, I'll put a card up so you can check out the playlist for all of the 30-06 testing we've done here on the channel. It should be all organized in there so you can go see some of the initial load development and some more testing as we do some more testing here on the channel. You too might find there's something else more down your alley. You can check one of those videos out if you like. If you're interested in the load development test, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you get notified when I post next week's video. I hope to see you come back next week, and until then, stay safe in small groups.